So, hi guys, welcome back to the episode 2 of bandais #overtime. Today's topic is Master Your Mind. We are here with your hosts, me, Jane of Junior College 1,
And I'm Joselyne from Junior College 1 as well.
and we are accompanied by our lovely teachers. Please introduce yourselves.
Okay, hi all. My name is Miss Keke. I am your school counselor.
And hi everyone, I'm Ms.Tiur. I'm the lower secondary English and literature teacher.
Okay, so guys, for today we will talk about, the episode title today is known as Mastering Your Mind, right? But we also want to talk about how life has been during the quarantine. Especially, I think we all have been experiencing to some point about how we feel overwhelmed and maybe fed up with how things have been going. So in Indonesian language, we would know this as feeling jenuh. So kejenuhan itself, well, in psychology, it's defined by the feeling when we are not able to do what we set up to do because we don't exactly have the mental, physical, and psychological capacity to do so. In a more I guess in a more extreme or clinical state, we have something that is known about as burnout. So, burnout is defined as a condition when we experience physical exhaustions, we experience depersonalization, we experience mental and emotional exhaustion. We also experience something that is known as a reduced personal accomplishment because we might have been going through a stress that has been occurring for such a long time, right? And maybe we become to be aware of this when we look at emotional exhaustion, when we feel more irritable lately, we become, I guess, easier for us to be sad. We become anxious about things that have happened or have not yet happened. We feel depersonalization when we feel that we don't really want to interact with our environment. We become more isolated, I guess, in a sense. And we also have something as a lot of personal accomplishment. So when we feel as if we have this negative self-evaluation, we don't really think that we can accomplish well at school. We don't really think that we have a good relationship with our family. And we just feel, in a way, we feel useless. We feel like we cannot exactly contribute anything positive to the people around us, right? So there are a lot of causes of burnout and this feeling of jenuh at home. Sometimes this can happen because if we can also say that we felt fed up with the schedules that we have, maybe we haven't exactly changed our routine. Maybe we have a high expectations of how things are gonna, turn out. Maybe we are, oh, you know what, I'm gonna be more productive. I'm going to study like 10 hours a day or something like that, and then it doesn't happen. So it drives us a bit frustrated as well. We feel isolated with our environment. Maybe we don't exactly spend time to check in with the people that we care about or to talk to them. We don't have time maybe to do our hobbies. Maybe we become so focused on school or doing something else that we forgot to do something that we like, that brings us joy. We may also feel as if our environment doesn't really support us. So maybe sometimes we feel that our family doesn't understand our feelings, our siblings don't really want to listen to our stories, and so forth. Okay. We also have a different values than what we experience. So we might expect that we can have more fun instead of studying at this time, but it turns out that we still have to go and study, even during this unprecedented time when there's a lot of uncertainties involved. Okay, so that's something for me. What do you think about this, Ms.Tiur?
Um, a lot of things has changed, Miss Kuku, and these
Mm,
changes can lead to different effect on different people. Like some are quite easygoing, and it's probably the transition, I would say,
mhm,
is not really that difficult for them, but for those who are more sensitive, probably it would hit them harder than those who are more easygoing. I think one of the things that I personally feel is that it's like learning how to live again. It's
Yeah.
right? Don't you feel that way? It's like learning how to live again. It's the things that we used to take for granted, like just taking a walk or just entering I don't know, a department store, a mall. No, it's
It's a
not that easy.
luxury.
Yes, it is a
Yeah.
luxury. I agree. So I think for many of us, it's learning how to live, or should I say, relive. Yeah.
Mm.
It's like it can be a journey of discovery or a journey to, I don't know, an abyss. it, de- it it depends on the person, I think. I feel like it's for myself, I feel like it takes twice as much time and effort and energy to do even the simplest of tasks, like waking up in the morning and just going to the bath, like just starting your day. It's usually just go 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 every day, like waking up my daughter, and then just hustle and bustle around the house. It's just go go go, and now it's like time slows down, but at the same time things are speeding up as well. So
Right,
there's
right.
right. So
Yeah, I
I
also
feel
feel
like,
that way.
yeah, see,
Mm.
so it's an irony, and the more I ponder about it, the more draining the experience for me. So what and I don't know about you guys, but I found it difficult to be compassionate and patient with myself. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why? You don't have to. It's not go 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 anymore. Like, usually my alarm is set up like 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 and 4 is the latest I usually woke up, but now it's like an hour
Mm.
later, sometimes an hour and a half, and when I wake up later, I feel guilty. What is wrong with you? You should have extra time to do this.
Yeah.
Say,
Mm.
you're right. So it's like it's for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's mind-boggling. It's difficult for me, and I'm like 40 years old. I'm old. It's difficult for me to understand, to comprehend, to just like process things down. It takes a longer time for me to
Mm.
process
Right.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way.
and I'm glad I'm not the only one either. So that's how I've been feeling lately, guys.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I've been hearing the term new normal being thrown around.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about that?
Oof, that is a tough question, I would say, because I personally feel like there's not an official not diagnosis, sorry, a definition for new normal. But for me, it's like having to adjust into this weird way of living that we don't exactly feel we have to go
Yeah,
through
yeah.
anymore. Yeah, because I never would have guessed that once in a million years, well, not exactly once in a million years, but in our lifetime, that we would go through a pandemic. I thought we were better equipped to face that instead of, well, back then, especially like during the times of like the Spanish influenza, and then the bubonic plague. So I don't know. For me, I still find it very confusing at times. What do you think about it, guys?
I think it's like something that we would never expect, especially like in these modern
Yeah,
times, you know?
true. So
True,
true.
very true. Mm.
So, what do you think, guys? I mean, for me, new normal is what my initial reaction to new normal. New normal. New normal means not normal.
Yeah.
It's the
I agree.
negation of normal.
Hmm.
It's everything but. So it's I think everything is everybody is going through a transition right now, and it's a struggle, I think. Yeah, I think for everyone, because the presence of other human being can pose a health threat for us, and I find it difficult to swallow, like I one thing I really miss is I've been telling Miss Coco about this. One thing I really miss is that human interaction. And human interaction, physical interaction, is the very core of the spread of the outbreak. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
it's very ironic, isn't it? Yeah,
It's it's very ironic. It's very ironic. So,
Yeah. And I've
um,
seen like pictures and videos of
mhm, mhm,
students in China
mhm,
where the
mhm,
new normal is already applied, where
uh-huh,
they go to school and they have
uh-huh,
these series of protocols,
uh-huh,
and
uh-huh,
the
uh-huh.
desks have like
Mm.
it's like glassed, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
bordered.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
they have like
Like a separator, eh?
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
like,
something to
And I think
separate.
it would be extremely stressful, although it's like, oh, I mean, school is already stressful enough, and then and then you
true.
add those kind of things. It's just I don't know how it's gonna
Yeah.
work for us.
Yeah, I exactly like one thing that I'm really interested to hear about is like back then when I was your age, interaction is easy, right? I used to have friends and we mingle all the time, and interaction is quite easy. Interaction is quite easy. We play basketball, we bump into each other, and I used to go to the public school. It's there are 1,200 students all together.
Yes, that's the case. So I'll try to add in a
Yeah.
little bit as well because I've also gone through what Ms.Tiur gone through. I mean, I went to a private school, but at the same time, we always have like time after school to play basketball and just to hang out or play some other board games and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So those social interactions have actually become the hallmark of going to school. Sometimes we go to school not because of, we want to study, we feel motivated,
Exactly, Miss Kaka. Yeah.
but because we want to play with our friends at the
Yeah,
end of the school,
exactly.
right? And I can imagine how it feels like for you guys for that to be taken away, because I know
Yeah.
social interaction is a very, very important part
Hmm.
of school, right? Because I mean, if we just want to learn, there are a lot of online courses there. I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
Google can offer
Yeah.
even sometimes a much better education that is provided. Like at some schools, they have a more comprehensive curriculum and so forth. But yeah, so we want to ask you guys about how does it feel like to be a teenager during this time?
Yeah.
I think like it differs based on what kind of person you are. I'm pretty sure it's hard on everyone, but I think there's like a factor whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, because I
Mm.
think I'm like somewhere in the middle of both. I'm not
Mm.
Mm.
necessarily like I
Mm.
sometimes when the condition was normal, I sometimes prefer to stay home because I just didn't have the
Mm.
energy to
Hmm.
socialize. But
Mm.
now that I'm home all the time, I want to go out. But my
Yeah.
sister, however, she actually enjoys being at home. Like she thinks that
Oh.
it's the best thing ever. But for me, it's not really the best thing ever because I miss my friends. But my sister, like she can handle the time period
Mm.
when she doesn't have to
Ah,
meet
I
her
see.
friends.
Mm.
I
Mm.
see.
Well, for me, I feel exactly the same way as Miss Tier actually, because I've been stressing over not being productive. I've been scheduling my day and then
Yeah.
ended up procrastinating
Yeah,
in each
exactly.
day, like watching
Oh,
Netflix.
feel
And
you.
then I would beat
Feel you
myself
guys.
over it because,
Yeah.
yeah, and then like simple tasks as such as going, what, running or walking, it becomes such a hard task to do. Usually, when this pandemic hasn't happened, simple tasks usually take like less mental energy, if
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
if,
Hmm.
if
Oh
that
That,
makes
yeah.
sense.
yeah, I
Yes,
know
Yeah.
what you
that
mean.
definitely
Yeah,
makes sense.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it relates to Einstein's theory of relativity of time, because when we are so idle, I think that's when time moves so fast. Because
It's an irony, eh?
yeah, and like it's like the superhero movies where
Hmm.
a guy is so fast that time dilates
Oh,
around him.
I know what you're talking
Ah,
about.
Yeah, and this
It's
is
the
the opposite
Flash.
of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that's where it's so frustrating. Although I am enjoying like being able to plan my day and actually do things in my own pace,
Hmm?
it's kind of stressful because I want to be productive.
Yeah. I think this whole experience is because like teenagers, I remember my own teenager days. It's like quite reckless, right? Like you just do things, just go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and do it. But
Mm,
right now, the whole society are asking teenagers to be like very responsible, very mature, and to make very sensible decisions. You if you need to think twice before you go out
mm,
and do something with
Right.
your friends. You need to think twice before you do
mm.
this. You need to think twice before you do that. So it's actually
The demands are
yeah, the
increasing.
demand is quite high on teenagers these days, and I
Yeah.
think that's probably quite a conflict for teenagers. What do you think, Miss Keke?
I think I agree very much with you, Ms.Tiur, because on the, well, speaking from the psychological development side,
Mm.
teenagers is actually the time when socialization is considered as the most important
Mm,
thing, I would say.
mm,
So
mm.
to say that there's that more importance put on how people perceive us, on, instead of our parents,
Yeah.
care more about what our friends think about us as well. And for that to be taken away, I think that is a very stressful thing for people to be able to go through, because it is not just something that teenagers want, but it is also
Mm,
something that they need as well, right? And I don't know about you guys,
Yeah.
but having friends also can actually help
mm.
us to feel less alone in situations. We can tell stories to them, we can connect, right? And I would say that social support is an important coping mechanism or a way to deal with stressful situations. But in this situation, it's more like um, taking that source of relief away from the students, which I think that's actually a very sad thing as well. And I was wondering about what do you guys think about what Jane and Jocelyn think of, not being able to talk to your friends, and how do you guys cope with losing that aspect of your life, or I guess slowly reduced or having a decrease in that aspect.
Well, I guess it becomes harder because especially in these digital times, we
Mhm,
it becomes harder for us to connect with each other,
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
like interpersonally.
So
And
what do you do, Jane? What do you use like any platform? Do you have like you chat with your friends, you meet in a
yeah,
virtual
yeah,
room? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
yeah. Last week, I guess, it was Caitlin's birthday. We got a whole Zoom meeting with
Mm.
a bunch of people, and
Mm-hmm.
we celebrated her birthday.
Yeah,
Although
yeah.
that was all that we can do, and
Uh-huh.
then we check in on each other periodically.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell each other about interesting stuff that has happened to us over
Mm.
time. I think that's really what keeps our friendship alive.
Oh, I'm interested. What's the most interesting thing that has happened to you during this pandemic, Jane?
That's a good question.
The most interesting thing, I guess, actually finding out more about myself than I used to
Mm.
know.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mm.
I feel like I'm getting to know myself better.
Oh, wow. What a mature answer.
I'm
And what
sorry,
did you
I'm quite a reflective person.
No, I'm really interested. And what have you discovered about yourself, if you don't mind sharing?
That I actually, well, it's more like a reflective process, I guess. It's not
Mm.
something you,
Mm.
it's like an epiphany. It's not like that. It's
Mm-hmm,
just realizing my purpose, my
mm-hmm.
journey,
Mm.
where I actually want to go in my life.
I
As it,
see.
yeah, slowing down has given me time to actually think about my life. I think that's the thing.
Wow. And what about you, Jocelyn?
Oh, honestly, I don't think that, anything has been like super interesting, but
Mm.
I think that just the fact that I can do more things and
Mm-hmm.
just like have so much spare time, which I
Mm.
never do, because I think that the junior college life is like very different from secondary. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like during the secondary years, it was all more slow paced,
Mm-hmm.
and like we actually had time to do stuff
Mm.
and we weren't piled with homeworks.
Mm.
But the junior college life, when, when the teachers first said that it was going to be different, I didn't know that it was going to be this different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the gap, the busy gap is really like broad, you know, like
Mm.
so I think that the fact that I can just and sit back and like take a little bit of time for myself, I think that's like very mind blowing.
Okay. Miss Keke,
Mm.
what do you think, Miss?
Mm, I guess in a way of in what both Jocelyn and what Jane described, I think they are very normal experiences that sort of brought upon because of the COVID. On the other hand, COVID-19 has sort of put a halt into the lives that we normally experience, right? There's a lot of fast-paced to do stuff
Mm-hmm.
here and there. But at this time, there's also a chance for you to slow down as well, to sort of do the activities that you may not be able to do if you had to go to school daily um, at the same time as well. But I also understand with Jocelyn experience, I guess, of just trying to be there and trying to adapt through the time, which I think it is all right because to be honest, we don't exactly have a guideline on how to,
Yeah.
how
True.
to actually survive
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID-19. Yeah, because it is still something that is unraveling and then ongoing. So I feel every person has their own pace in a way that they
Mm.
deal with things as well. I guess one of the things that people normally have trouble with or have a difficult time to adjust, and as what Ms. Tiur and as you guys mentioned, is about productivity, right?
Yes.
Because that is an integral part of our lives. We have to be productive. We have to do something at study or at work because that's
Mm-hmm.
how we have been socialized as we are growing up. So I'd like to ask you guys about your own studies at home, right? And maybe for Ms. Tiur about your own work at home. How has this been for you, and how have you been trying to manage to stay productive? Or maybe there's a change in the way you view productivity.
Well, if you ask me, the most difficult thing with this whole work from home and all that is it's because everything is just sort of blend together. If I'm physically going to work and at school, there's a clear separation between work and home
Right.
because working from
Mm,
home, and I'm also a mother, so like that,
yeah.
I'm recording a podcast and my daughter is keep coming and going asking for this and that, and I cannot stop her. And also sometimes even in the middle of teaching, in the middle of a meeting, it because everything blends together,
Mm,
it's
Blurry
sometimes
lines.
it's very,
right.
very, yeah, it's blurry lines. It's difficult. That's the most difficult thing for me, because
Mm,
I've sometimes
yeah.
I feel guilty because my daughter, she deserves my time as much as my students do, right? She deserves it as well. But most of the time, she's the one who's been showing away. Shh, shh, wait, mommy is teaching right now.
Mm,
Mommy is recording right now. Mommy's. So I think that's the most difficult thing. I think that's because everything is sort of a blend together. So
mm,
other than having so what I do to cope is just that really have like trying to have a strict timeline that I follow every day and spend time with
mm,
her later in the night. So and hopefully she understands that her time is a bit later and in the morning to afternoon that I'm working. So I think that's the most difficult thing for me. I don't know you guys, maybe you have different different experience.
For me, it really relates to discipline, I guess. To
Mm-hmm.
Because I um plan my day like
Mm-hmm.
from this hour to that hour, what
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do, and to actually stick to that schedule
I see.
and not um push back stuff. I think that's the
mm,
problem
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
And then not falling to the endless abyss of laziness, I guess. Because um morning
mm,
conference for junior college one usually starts at 8:30, which is pretty late for school actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I would actually attend the morning conference with my head on the pillow, and I would, oh, since when did I become this um idle creature? But yeah, so I think
I
that's
see.
the thing for me.
Mm, okay. I
What about
see.
Jocelyn?
I think the most difficult thing for me is also again like Jane said, like definitely something to do with laziness and procrastinating. Because
Hmm.
when I'm at home,
Mm, I
I
see.
feel like it's different from school. Like when I go to school, like there's that fear that like, oh, what if I don't do my homework? Like the teacher's
Yeah,
gonna get mad at
it's not
me.
a
Yeah,
negative
But when I'm
fear.
at
yeah.
home, it's like no one is supervising me. So I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, whatever. I can just do this later and later,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Yeah.
the work just piles up eventually.
Mm.
I
Mm,
mean,
So I think,
like it or not, it's a positive reinforcement for us to study. Like
yeah,
when we're in a lecture, maybe um we put the conference in speaker and then we just sleep. I guess
yeah,
that's yeah.
exactly.
And
Until
then when the
someone
teacher
calls
calls
our
our name, we
name, and
would
now we
we
wake
would
oh,
up.
panic.
so that's what's been happening.
Now I know what happens when the student doesn't immediately respond to my question.
Yeah, you know
Okay.
what happens.
So I think yeah, I think more or less what you guys are saying is that the
Mm,
loss of the walls of the four walls of a classroom when everything, so more or less it's like what I'm experiencing but in a different way, like because of when you go to, you physically are at school, then you feel that there are boundaries and there are some set of rules
mm,
that you need to follow accordingly, right?
Yes.
mm,
And because that wall are suddenly not there, then you feel like it's like Jocelyn was saying, oh, it's okay, and then
Yeah.
suddenly work just piles up, right?
mm,
So it's funny. I think it's we actually need walls in
mm. We
this.
need that physical
Yeah, like that
True,
boundaries.
yeah.
physical boundaries is
Mm,
also still an important thing for us, and because that physical wall is taken away from us, then it really relies on our own responsibility, especially you guys as students. A lot of the responsibilities in the classroom has been shifted, right? So a lot of it are on your own shoulders right now.
Yeah. And
Right.
it's
mm,
for adults it's already hard to discipline themselves. Imagine
Mm,
for teenagers. Like yeah,
exactly.
they
I
lack
know
exactly.
self-control,
exactly.
I know.
I could imagine. I could imagine. What's with
Yeah.
the Netflix and
Yeah,
YouTube
because it's
Oh,
so
and
accessible at this time of
excess. Yes,
yes.
yeah.
exactly.
Especially when they're
Accessible.
adding more bandwidth and
Yeah.
easier internet. Yeah. Very much. Hmm.
So, how can we conclude what we have discussed today, Miss Coco?
I think in a way, well, we actually talk about a lot of things today, and I think that that's a very good thing. So what we can conclude is that in this time of COVID-19, we are experiencing something that we've never experienced before, right? There's a lot of shift from our daily normal
Mm,
routine to
yeah.
something here that we're just trying to still adjust to. So I guess maybe
Mm,
in a way, new normal relates to the way that we have to change the way that we are
mm,
conducting our lives, right? For some people, it still becomes more easy or easier, not well, not very easy to sort of go with the flow, to just follow through. Some people actually like being from home, but for some, it may be a very difficult thing. Right. And I think
Right.
as we're trying to adjust through this time, so
mm,
we've been doing a lot of trial and error, I would say. So I'm going to try this, or I'm going to try that.
mm,
And eventually I've been trying to set up our routine, but it may not always be successful. It can create a sense of or that immense boredom, or just feeling like I can't
mm,
exactly do anything right now.
Hmm.
So, well, what we would conclude and what we would suggest is I would say to sort of spice up your routine. So try to add something a bit new. Maybe you can try to do a hobby that you
Oh yeah.
haven't exactly follow up again before, maybe reading a
mm,
book, because I have bought like tons of books and I haven't read them myself. So that's a little good on my part. And also maybe instead of forcing us to do a schedule,
yeah.
I would recommend to, you know what, maybe if I'm not really feeling in the mood and I want to watch Netflix, that's okay. But we set a
Mm,
limit on how
mm,
long, maybe
yeah.
1 hour. So that's tops. And don't forget to do self-care as well, right? That is my favorite word at the moment is self-care. The official buzzword. So try to eat healthier. And I would say this is a time to do a lot more exercise, right? In any form,
Right, right.
yoga, fitness, whatever it is that you like. Don't forget to check in on your family and friends. So just try to talk with them, try to listen with what they're going through. Also pray to God. So get yourself close with the church
Mm.
community. It's also helpful
Yes.
reading the Bible. So basically, do something that benefits your health. That's a very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
healthy, you're not really capable to be productive or even just
Mm.
do a daily um, activities at home, right? And as always, be self-compassionate towards yourself. We will fail. We won't be able to be the perfect
Yeah.
person, but that's okay. Keep on trying, keep on finding a way that works for you. And if, of course, don't forget to ask for help if you need it. We are here for you guys as teachers. We want to make sure that we can also help you to not just doing good at school, not just having good grades, but also to be someone that can take care of their own emotional, physical, and psychological well-being. So that's
Right.
me. Does anyone else want to add to something, Miss Tiur,
Mm,
Jose, or Jane?
so I think this quarantine has brought a lot of challenges and positive
Mm.
things to our lives,
Yes.
and I think
Agree.
it's all we all have to manage with in our own ways, but also make sure that we are also doing self-care, as Miss Kika said.
Mm.
And so I think that's all for today. Thank you, Miss Kaka and Miss Tiur, for joining us
You're very
today.
welcome.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
You're very
inviting me to
welcome. Thank
the
you.
podcast.
Okay. Jocelyn, can
Yes.
you?
Okay. So for anyone who is listening to this podcast and is interested in joining, we're actually opening recruitments for anyone who would like to be on the podcast. You can just email us at podcast@piasecondary.penabur.sh.id, or you can DM us at our Instagram, which is bandais.pis, for any additional information required.
Right. So anyone is able to participate. So please just contact us at the email mentioned by Jocelyn. And we'll see you guys next Monday. Thank you, Miss Kaka and Miss Dear, once again with our
You're
third
very
episode
welcome.
of
Very
Bandai's
welcome,
hashtag
guys.
overtime. Thank you guys. See you next Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you too.